Hi, welcome to A Well Designed Business. Today, we're going to talk about resilience again. A couple of weeks ago, we had an episode overheard with Sandra Funk, Robin Burrill, and Antonio DeLoatch, which we will link in the show notes. And the entire discussion of that episode centered on resilience. Each of these designers very candidly shared difficult moments that they have faced in running their businesses. We talked about, firstly, the harshness of the moments themselves, and then about the strong feelings that these particular setbacks created for each of them. And finally, we talked about the hindsight lessons that they have gleaned from those difficult challenges. So it's a very good episode. I highly encourage you to listen to it if you've missed it. Now, I'm talking about resilience again today because the truth is, I got so many messages about that episode, emails, DMs, Voxer messages. And among all of the messages that I received, the most resounding, repeated, common thing to me was, "You don't know how much I needed to hear that episode today." And then it was usually followed by whatever struggle that particular person was going through at that moment or had been for the several weeks or months leading until that day. And before I continue on this, I want to say, if you were one of those people that did message me, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with your personal feelings and your challenges. And I want you to know I appreciate you. Now, I always say to my team, if 5 people email me and say the same thing, then that means 50 people are thinking about it. And if 50 people email me and say the same thing, then that means probably 500 people are thinking about it. And this goes for any kind of feedback we get regarding a show, an email that we've sent, anything. Good or bad feedback. I know that there's a barometer for X amount of you that actually take the step to share your opinion with me, that it's obviously felt by many more than the several that do reach out. So by the measure of all the many messages that I received, I realize that many of you, very many of you, feel like you're alone out there building a business, running a business, maybe hanging on to a business. So here's the thing, you are not alone. Whatever is on your plate, especially all the things that are falling off the sides of that plate, I promise you, without a doubt, someone else's plate looks very similar. So, today we're going to explore some more of what this means to be resilient. And I'm going to share some stories and ideas for you to hopefully help you navigate this and to cultivate this in yourself and for your business. So grab a cup of coffee, my friend, and let's talk. Let's start by acknowledging something very critical, very important, should be obvious, but always isn't, that being a small business owner is hard. Even on the great days, it's hard. And as you well know by now, 8 years in, 8+ years in, 1,000 plus episodes of me coming into your ear, you are not simply designing beautiful spaces. You are running businesses. And in doing this, you're wearing lots of hats. So many of us are the CEO, the CFO, the HR manager, the content creator, and let's not forget the janitor, the scheduler, the status checker, and my personal favorite, the CCO, the Chief Complaint Officer. You are responsible for everything from managing your team and trades to making sure the invoices go out on time, as well as the invoices get paid, right? To keeping your clients happy and your projects running smoothly. Is it any wonder that some days are hard? I mean, I mean, honestly, there's so much on your plate. And if we think about, for those of you that are raising kids at the same time, I want to say, I see you. I know that raising kids is not simply just about getting them to school and piano and gymnastics and football and soccer and Cub Scouts. It's not just signing permission slips, packing lunches, making crazy things for science fairs, and designing and building dioramas. As hard as all of that is, the real challenge is, when you are also running a business, is being present for them. You're raising a human, not a houseplant. Humans need meaningful connection. Little humans, especially, need you to look in their eyes and see them. And somehow you have to find the time to do that. The headspace and the energy to be an engaged, loving parent, not just a chauffeur, a cook, and a maid, is incredible. And the thing is, maybe you're past this season. Maybe kids are not in your life, right? Maybe they never were, they never will be. But maybe you have elderly parents that you're helping. Or I know many of you have an aunt or an uncle that you are responsible for, okay? Because that aunt or uncle didn't have children. Maybe design is a side hustle for you and you are still having another boss with responsibilities to a full time job while you are being accountable to your interior design clients. Whatever it is, it's a lot. And I see you. And I know that it's a lot. Here's the thing. Finally, maybe you are unencumbered by any of these personal things that add to your plate. Possibly, maybe this is just your first rough patch in business. Maybe this year, for like so many of us, it's been sketchy. And by sketchy, I mean nerve wracking. I've gotten messages where it's like, I've had designers that run 5 million plus firms reach out to me and say, is it just my business or are things different out here? And these are seasoned business owners that are saying, what the actual is happening, right? And what I'm telling you is, yes, things are different this year. It's been sketchy and patchy and not exactly following previous year's data. Partly to blame, it's an election year. And let's face it, no matter what side you land on in this election, an election year is different and it creates challenges for businesses and it creates uncertainty in the marketplace until we're through it. Like I said, no matter what side it lands on. Okay. And this particular election year, we all know, let's face it, it's supercharged in ways that are practically unprecedented, right? As ever before in our history. So, yeah, this all affects our businesses. And if it's your first kind of sketchy rough patch in business, that could be enough to shake you and to test your resilience, right? Things that worked a year or 2 years ago may not be working now for you, and that can be scary. So, resilience is a word that gets thrown around a lot. Please do not get numb to it. Resilience for everything in life, and definitely for the entrepreneurial part of your life, is a critical key in the eventual success or failure of your relationships, your life, your business. Okay. So do not underestimate the need to think about it and to cultivate it in yourself. All right. Now, let's take some inventory here. Here's some things that resilience is not. Okay. Resilience is not pretending everything is fine when clearly it is not, right? Do not put your head in the sand. Putting your head in the sand, not seeing, not paying attention, playing la 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 with yourself, that's not being resilient. That's not. That's running away is what that is. Okay? Now, resilience is also not about pushing blindly through without a plan, just chasing the next solution without thinking it through. That's a chicken without a head. That's just running around. That's just like back and forth and blah, blah, blah. It's busy. Okay. That's not resilience. Right. Another thing that resilience is not is overthinking things. Maybe you have a fear of risk or a fear of failure and constant fact gathering without any meaningful action towards the goal is not resilience. That's like being a hamster in a wheel, always moving, but only moving for the sake of moving. That is not resilience. These are all versions of not facing the challenge in front of you. All right. On the other hand, what is resilience? Resilience is when we understand we will fail and that we will fail often. Resilience is not dwelling in the failure and instead learning from the failure. Okay. If you've ever been with me at a live event, every once in a while, I'll just tell the WD-40 story, right? Like it's a quick thing. WD-40, water displacement, right? It's a typical thing. You see it in every toolbox and tool shelf of every dad, father, brother, sister you've ever had that has one, right? Well, do you know why it's called WD-40? Because it's water displacement 40th version. It took them 39 versions for the product to work. Okay? So resilience is understanding that failure is part of it and getting up and looking at what you learned from that failure and what you're going to apply to your next attempt. That is resilience. Okay? Resilience is also when we do the hard things, even though when they are hard, right? We have the hard conversations, we face the hard realities, and we pick our heads up and we handle our stuff. Okay. Do you remember the episode way back when with Lee Cockrell? I have recounted and recalled this episode to you many, many times over the years. Okay. Because Lee, he was the EVP of worldwide Walt Disney operations. And he said to us, when you only do the easy things, everything else gets harder. But when you do the hard things, everything else gets easier. This is actually the essence of resilience. This is literally, it's resilience at its core. And I would say between this episode and the overheard episode, if that is the one thing that you can take away and hold on to, that would be it. When you only do the easy things, everything else gets harder. When you do the hard things, everything else gets easier. Okay? Here's another thing. Resilience is when we do not give up on our goals, even when they seem impossible. All right? I personally like to set must reach goals, non-negotiable. This has got to happen. And I like dream goals. Dream goals are the what if I surprised myself goals. They're the what if everything lined up and I could achieve anything goals, right? Must reach goals are exactly what needs to be achieved to keep your business open, healthy, whether you're growing it, maintaining it. You know what I'm saying? It's the goals that you have to look at every day and get off the list. You've got to accomplish them. Okay. You're clear about them. You're focused on what they are. And regardless of whether the sun shines, there's an interruption in the supply chain, your favorite GC won the lottery, went to Bora Bora for the year, there's a major wackadoodle election in the country, your must reach goals are the ones that you will stick to, that you will persevere through because you know you can and you must. So let me tell you a story about what happened at WindowWorks recently. JC, who is now the majority partner at WindowWorks, my son-in-law, was out sick that day. And so I was going to run the sales meeting for him. And typically in our sales meetings, we review everybody's appointments for the last 2 weeks. And where we say, hey, where did you go on? What happened? We do a little autopsy of the appointments. And it's very helpful and it's very necessary because you have the opportunity to get help from your peers on maybe a project that's a little difficult to close down or some insight on maybe a different product to offer that particular consumer or designer that will make the project, close faster or easier or at a higher profit margin, whatever it might be. But I knew that we were off goal. And I said to these guys, I said, listen, we're not having our regular sales meeting today. I said, today we're going to do one thing. We're going to look at some numbers. And I said, Kim, tell us where we are in the month right now. And here's the thing. The previous month in July, we sold an unprecedented over $400,000 in sales. It was the highest July in all of the history of WindowWorks. The month before in June, we were at 300,000-ish in sales. So we had such a spike there in 1 month. And then on this date, August 25th, 2024, we were at $161,000. Think about that. We have 5 selling days in the month, and we have $240,000 that we have to hit to reach our dream goal. The actual goal was probably $30,000 or $40,000 less than that. But the reality is that we're at the 25th of the month and we have 161,000 in sales when we've got a month before that with 400,000 plus and a month before that with 300,000 plus. So you want to talk about it's sketchy, it's patchy. It's no wonder you're feeling unsure of business, right? So here we have this 40 plus year mature business that is having this roller coaster ride. Usually, June, July, and August are 3 months that duplicate themselves here at WindowWorks. Bang, 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 right? So to be sitting on the 25th of the month at 161,000 in sales is frankly terrifying. It doesn't come anywhere near covering the cost to be open number for the month at WindowWorks. So here's the thing. I said to Kim, what do we got to hit? She's like, we have to hit $240,000 if we're going to hit our dream goal. I said, okay, fine. So take 5 days, divide it by 240, divide it by the 4 of you salespeople. What does that come to? And she said, well, that's $12,000 a person each for 5 days. Now, I'm going to tell you what, I literally visibly saw the shoulders relax because a moment before, $240,000 seemed completely out of reach. You have got to be kidding me. It can never happen. But when we analyzed and broke it down, that it's $12,000 per salesperson per day for 5 days, I looked at them and I'm like, it's doable, right? And they all just looked at me. They're like, yeah, it kind of is. And I was honest with them. I said, look, this isn't like I don't have to think about it. This isn't like it's just going to happen, especially where the previous 3 weeks are at such a low rate. Obviously, something's going on out there. I said, but that's 2 good sales, 1 decent sale, right? 2 good sales, 1 very good sale, right? And they're all like nodding at me. I said, so here's the thing. We're not going through the last 2 weeks. We're not going to talk about who ghosted you, who didn't ghost you. You're all going back to your desks. Go to your desk and dig out $12,000 a day for the next 5 days. I said, if you have any questions, you have any challenges that you do want me to help you with, absolutely raise your hand now and say so. But if not, get to work. And what I said to them is, listen to me. It takes every single person in this company to run this business. We need every installer. We need every showroom administrator. We need the managers. We need the chairman of the boards, Vinny and myself. We need all of us. But who pulls the train? It's the sales team. You pull the train and you need to get up and you need to get this train from here to Friday. And here's the thing. I called JC Friday afternoon because I was at the beach house, not worrying about this so much because I have confidence in them. And I called him up about 4:30 on Friday and I said, where are we at goal? And he's like, Lou, we have sold $187,000 in 5 days. And I was like, that is a slam dunk, my friend. That is a slam dunk. And it happened because there was a conversation taking a must-reach goal and breaking it up into chunks that each person who's responsible for that goal could visualize achieving. So resilience is having the courage to set a goal to begin with, but then visiting that goal every week, every month, every day, and not saying it's too late, it's too big, it's too much. We didn't hit 240, but we hit 187. Okay. I can tell you if we did not have that conversation, we probably would have had 50 or 60 in sales because there is a huge component to mindset. 240,000 in 5 days seems like you're out of your mind. 12,000 a day seems like, yeah, I guess I could do that. So set your goals. Resilient people, they don't give up on their goals, even when they seem out of reach. That's resilience. Okay. And then resilience is also when you practice flexibility. Resilient leaders and business owners are adaptive. You know you can change your business because you're in charge of it. You're in charge of your business, your life, your destiny. So you know you can set on a path and you can change your mind for a better path, right? So it's funny because I recently did an interview that's not on air yet about a designer who came to a particular thing because of a particular thing in her moment, got super excited, not going to give it away, got super excited, went down the path chasing this thing. And before she actually brought that vision to complete fruition, there was another opportunity created. And I could tell in the conversation, she was just a little bit like, I don't know. And I was like, hey, your circus, your monkey. I know that you were super excited about doing this thing, but sometimes the thing brings us to another thing that's better. And if it feels better, you can do it. And that's on big things. But also, resilient people practice flexibility in little things, and they're adaptable in little things. You know, the painter is supposed to be there on Monday and he doesn't show up. I know it's not good. And, you know, if that painter does that every single time on every single job, bigger conversation. That's going back to the other one, having the hard conversation, right? But if it's just like a really reliable guy or gal and it doesn't happen that often, you know, you got to figure it out. You got to be adaptive and you got to be the leader in that situation so that your client rolls with it too. Okay. So the thing is, resilient leaders don't worry about what would have been, what could have been. We believe in what can be, and we think forward, and we see positive, and we create, we innovate, and we take action. Okay. Now, how about some tips, some practical tips for building resilience, right? Told you what resilience is not. I've told you what, in my opinion, resilience is. And now I'm going to give you some practical strategies to kind of cultivate it in yourself. Okay. So, first one is resilient people set boundaries. This is a big one. We often feel guilty for saying no, but setting boundaries is crucial. And here's a news flash. You've heard me say it a dozen times. No is a complete sentence, right? You know, no. And the thing is, you can add a thank you to the no. You know, no one is asking to be rude in your conviction in surrounding and protecting your battery, your battery, that too, surrounding and protecting your battery, right? But your boundary. But you can say no. My granddaughter Lucy has this down to a science. It doesn't matter. I could say, "Hey Lucy, it's time to take a bath." She goes, "No, thank you." And I go, "Hey Lucy, it's time to clean up the Play-Doh before we get your swimsuit on to go to the beach." "No, thank you, mom." Like, and I just like look at her and I look at my daughter Christine. I'm like, "Does she think because she said thank you that makes it okay?" She goes, "I'm pretty sure she does." You know, she's dead serious. And you know what it is? I kind of love it. She doesn't pussyfoot around. She doesn't whine about it. I don't want about it. Just no, thank you. Okay. So whether it's clients, your team, your family, it's not only okay to protect your time, your money, your energy, your ideas, your intellectual property. It's non negotiable. Okay. This may come in the form of scope creep, or it may come in the form of an employee who consistently misses deadlines. It may come in the form of you selling yourself out, okay? When it's time to eat better, drink less, move more, rationalizing that it's okay, you don't have to, right? I'm always talking to you about establishing your mission and your vision and your values for your business because they are the guideposts for which every decision in your business is made versus, right? It's the comparison. Does it fulfill my mission, vision, or values? Answer is yes or no. Makes it easy. Okay. Have a little sit down with yourself and decide how will you live your life and how will your business be structured, and learn to say hell no and hell yes a little more, right? And for me and Lucy, I will continue to try and help her understand that, yes, stand up for yourself, girl, but not to my mom. Right? Okay. Second tip is resilient people know that self care is not only okay, but it is required. Right? Establishing self care is part of establishing boundaries. And in this case, boundaries around protecting your self care is the thing, but it's critical in developing and cultivating resilience. You heard in the overheard episode, my tell, right? I have learned without a shadow of a doubt when I am not taking care of myself, when I have way less energy, less patience, less mental capacity, I automatically have less resilience. Okay. The resilience is the first thing to go, actually, in fact, right? I drop a lunch bag, some papers, and you would think the sky caved in. You would think I dropped, a Fabergé egg, right? It's, there's not 1 ounce of my energy, my patience left for a tiny mishap, let alone an actual challenge to my day, business, or life. And that is also my clue. Time to evaluate. Because if I am particularly feeling rested or I've been eating well and sleeping and all of the things, then it's also my clue to say, well, then what's going on? Am I avoiding a hard conversation? Do I have a situation with a sponsor, with a chairman of the board, with an employee, with somebody at Window Works that I am not wanting to deal with? Okay, because it all creeps in. Your inside voice knows all. And when you are out of alignment with your best self, your resilience crumbles like a house of cards. Okay, so honor your body, your mind, your dreams, and your goals by caring for and nurturing the best version of yourself. Katie McDonald has been on the show several times. And you know what she says? Self care is not selfish. Okay. She works with high achieving women who need help in establishing boundaries that enable you to be your best self. Okay. So we'll link her episode in the show notes if you need a little dose of Katie. All right. And then the other tip is resilient people know that mindset matters. And cultivating a positive mindset is key. It's choosing to focus on what you can control. Do I need to say that again for all of my perfectionist friends? Choosing to focus on what you can control and finding gratitude in even the smallest things when you are feeling out of control. Okay. Look, it's so funny because 15 or 20 years ago to say to someone, do whatever it takes to live in gratitude, it felt very woo woo, right? It felt very like, what are you talking about? I think now you know that it definitely impacts you on a cellular level when you dwell in gratitude, when you dwell in positivity, when you cultivate this practice for yourself. Okay. Whether you do it through journaling, meditating, volunteering, reading, walking in nature, whatever it takes for you to actually feel gratitude for anything that is positive in your life. Now, don't think that I don't know that you may be someone out there with a truly untenable, unimaginable, horrific situation that you're living through at this moment. I know you come up to me and you tell me what you go through. I know you're out there with that. Okay. But I also know that anything that you're going through, there is something to find that you could say, okay, I'm glad for that. Even if it's on a big, huge, I'm on my knees praising the universe. This is so amazing. Just a moment of, well, that's good right there. I can see that goodness there. You know, Robin talked about it in the overheard episode. Her, both her parents, all diagnosed and going through cancer treatments at the same time, and her husband has a serious illness at the same time. Like, what the actual, right? That's a whiskey tango foxtrot moment right there. I am just going to say, okay? But you know what? When she was talking to us, you heard it. She's like, I had a team that kept the business running. So, did that mean that she wasn't going through all of the physical effects of chemo and, running around back and forth to her parents' house, helping her husband? Think about the reality of Robin's days and weeks that went on for months at a time. Like, I've never been through chemo. If you have, you're getting it at a much deeper level than I can even begin to imagine. But the thing is, she still was like, you know what? I had a great team and they kept the business going. And so there is something always, no matter how hard your reality may be, you can make it harder or you can choose to pick your head up. And I'm not saying picking your head up will always be easy. I'm not. I'm saying, though, that this again is the essence of resilience and it will serve you if you can do it. Another tactic for cultivating resilience is to stay connected. Okay. Isolation makes it so much worse. Stay connected with your community, your family, with other designers, with your friends. Okay. Just talking things out sometimes just takes the heaviness out of things. Okay. I mean, just the way so many of you reached out to me and said, I needed to hear that episode that day, the overheard episode. I'm sure that little bit just changed something for you in that moment, right? I come back in the DM or I come back in the email and say something, all right? We're not talking about big, big, big things. We're talking about little things, but we are talking about staying connected. Okay. So stay connected and ask for help. Okay. You can do it. It's okay to not know how to do it, though. And it's okay to ask for help. There's a million places, I guarantee you, if you start to look for it, where you could ask for help. All right. Then, finally, a last tactic here is resilient people keep learning, right? Resilient people keep learning. Personal and professional growth can be incredibly empowering. And when you do this, whether it's reading a new book, taking a course, or just learning from others in the industry, continuing to grow and give you the tools you need to navigate changes more effectively. I mean, this is so instrumental in developing your resilience. It's more information. It's more ideas. If, it's you're not getting any leads, the pipeline is tough right now. Well, if you've got a network of other friends and designers and you can say, "Well, how are you getting leads?" I mean, doesn't that help you? Right? But if you don't cultivate the relationships, if you don't step your toe into the communities, where do you find the thing? So just the very act of engaging in personal and professional growth will result in being more resilient with more ideas, more inspiration, more tactics and strategies, right? It's one of the reasons that I started doing the Power Talk Friday tours because I know when you have the opportunity to be in a small room with whether it's 10 people or 20 people, that your business can be impacted so dramatically because the conversations are not surface level, they are meaningful. And when you're in the room with people who have the same perspective of you, I'm here to learn. I'm here to know what I don't know. I'm here to share with you what I've learned. I'm here to share with you the idea that was the game changer in my business. Then your whole outlook changes. And when your outlook changes, your resilience automatically grows because it automatically brings those positive ideas, those positive feelings. And so resilience is right along with positivity, right? So it's funny because when I was writing this show and the Power Talk Friday came to my mind and how dramatically it has helped so many designers and window treatment professionals over the last 8 years, I said, I wonder how many people have actually done Power Talk Friday. And I was happy to learn that more than 170 interior designers or window treatment people have taken advantage of attending a Power Talk Friday 1-day coaching event that I've run. And I don't know if that seems like a lot to you or not, but when I think that the groups are mostly 5 or 10 or 15 people at a time, that seems like a lot to me. And I just know that those 170 plus designers and window treatment professionals have not only gone on to change the trajectory of their business, but they have increased their network of people in their community and they have increased their professional and personal development. And I love knowing that. I love knowing that I've been a part of that, and that the experts that I invite to be with me on these particular days have had that impact on your businesses. So we have one Power Talk Friday left in 2024. It's happening on October 25th, 2024 in High Point. Okay, so if you would like to be there, and if you are particularly feeling in need of the help, of the community, of the development, of some tactics and strategies, because this particular year has been challenging for you, I promise you it's a worthwhile investment in yourself as a business owner and your business. It is not money frivolously spent. I promise you that. Okay. We'll put the link for Power Talk Friday. It's powertalkfriday.com. We'll put it in the show notes. So here's the thing. I want to leave you with this thought. You are stronger than you know. The fact that you are here, that you are running your business, you are taking care of yourself, your family, and you're navigating all the challenges that life throws at you is a testament to your resilience. It is okay to have days when it feels like too much. It is okay to feel overwhelmed. But don't forget that you have the strength and the capability to rise above it all. You know what I always say? There's a saying a long time ago, was hanging in our house when I grew up. If you are given the vision of a dream, then you are given the ability to make it come true. Okay. I believe that. I believe if you can dream it, you can do it. You might have to develop some skills along the way. That's okay. You know, Aaron Judge didn't become Aaron Judge by never going to batting practice. So, reading books, attending events, investing in yourself, finding alone time, finding recharging time, getting good sleep. These are all your swings at the bat. This is all your batting practice so that when you show up and you get to the plate, you can hit a home run. That's what it is. Okay. So take one step at a time, give yourself some grace. And remember, resilience isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up even when things are hard and finding a way to keep moving forward. So, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I appreciate you. I believe in you. I see you. I know you're out there. I know you're doing your best. Just keep on keeping on it. Okay? Decide to be excellent.